All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're gonna get started. It's 6:05. This is the grant prep workshop for the Newark ArtStart Grant. For those that may not know me, my name is Mayowa Okubanja. I am the Finance and Grants Coordinator for Newark Arts. Also with me today, representing Newark Arts, I have Cindy Cinch and Miss Regina. Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys can see them, but Cindy's kind of handling some of the tech on the background, and Miss Regina, she's here to also provide support for us today.
Welcome.
Um, yes, okay, go ahead. Yes, welcome them properly.
Hi, Regina Barboza, Director of Development for Newark Arts, and this is one of our favorite times of year where we interact with folks who have programming that's primarily in community in Newark that really brings arts access to all of the wards and to folks who may not make it all the time downtown to activations. So we appreciate your hard work and are excited to hear what your ideas are around ArtStart 2025. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Cindy?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar for the Grant Prep Workshop, ArtStart 2025. Like Regina said, we love this time of the year. I'm here to supporting all things tech and to go through the application form with you.
All right, thank you. As you can see on your screen, we do have the application opening date as well as the deadline to apply. We will mention it numerous other times during this presentation. And also, for your convenience, this session recording will be available on our website at newarkarts.org/artstart. So let's say you missed some information or you had to run to the bathroom and come back and you felt like you missed something, you can always come back to review this again. All right, here we go. First of all, we want to recognize and say our thank yous because Newark ArtStart is made possible by the following organizations: the Prudential Foundation, New Jersey Arts and Culture Renewal Fund of Princeton, Area Community Foundation, the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation, the New Jersey State Arts of Council, New Jersey State Council on the Arts, and the Tyrrell Fund. All right, so we want to recognize those that support and make this continuously possible for us. Again, I mentioned this earlier, and I'm going to mention it again. The Newark ArtStart Grant, the applications open March 3rd, 2025 at 12 noon. That is this coming Monday. And the deadline is April 13, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. My advice is don't wait till the last minute. Try to get it in. Start the process as early as possible. Start the application. At least go into the application and get it started. ArtStart was established in 2001 with the aim to support and cultivate community-driven arts and cultural initiatives across the city of Newark. Also, we look to strengthen the capacity of Newark's nonprofit organizations, schools, and individual artists to deliver impactful art-based projects within the city's 5 wards. As we go through some of the slides, you're going to see some pictures to the left side, which is showing you some of the previous events in the past that we've held. Through the Eyes of Newark Youth was an event that was sponsored or granted in 2023 and 2024. This is exciting because for those that's been a grantee of ArtStart in the prior years, we are doing something completely different this year, which we are offering you 2 different levels of the grants. So we have the 3,000 level as well as a 5,000, which is something completely new. In the prior years, we have never given up to 5,000. So that's pretty exciting for those that are reapplying, or as well as those that have a project that might be need a bigger support. The amount that is approved is based on your budget and the overall strength and potential impact of the application. You can request up to $5,000 for your application, and we'll go a little bit further into the budgeting and how that is broken down later on. These are the dates to note. The grant deadline is Sunday, April 13th at 2025, April 13, 2025 at 11:59 p.m., not 12 a.m., 11:59 p.m. The notification of awards will be the week of June 2nd, 2025, and the successful grantees will be invited to a grantee event on June 10th, 2025. If you want to go ahead and take a screenshot of this, that's fine, or take a picture so you can save it for your records. But again, like I mentioned in the beginning, every information that you're seeing, the slides will be available for you on our website. Grant awards will be sent out in August 2025, and your event must take place between August 1st, 2025 and June 30th, 2026. All right, we're going to keep moving forward. Now, who is eligible? Newark Arts, with the aim of nurturing a broad spectrum of arts and cultural activities in our neighborhood, provide the mini ArtStart grants to community members, schools, nonprofits, as well as individual artists. The program aims to provide seed money for new, innovative, community-led art initiatives established within the last 5 years. And the program must be in the city of Newark and for the benefit of Newark residents. If you or your organization have received an ArtStart grant within the past 3 years, please ensure that the proposed project differs from any previously funded projects to be eligible for the grant. Non-501c3 eligibility. Individual artists must partner with nonprofit organizations, schools, or agencies serving as their fiscal agents. An MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, is required as evidence of this relationship. Organizations with no IRS determination letter must partner with a tax-exempt organization that will serve as a fiscal agent. Now, if you're an applicant that's partnering with a school, just understand that any Newark school is welcome to apply for support of a summer or in and out of school time creative arts project. But you must take note that, again, the application is due on Sunday, April 13, 2025, based on the fact that some schools may be out by then, as well as the notification goes out June 2nd, 2025. So if you are an applicant that's working with a school or a school, those are dates for you to definitely note and make sure you pay attention to the notifications, or supply a way whereby you can be notified with other emails you may be paying attention to. Any school-related programs cannot start before August 1st, 2025, and they may continue throughout the school year of 2025-2026. So we have a September to June schedule that your program must fit in. Proposal criteria. Artistic programs that benefit underserved communities. That is what we are prioritizing, and we'll go a bit more into it. Programs that address a specific community issue or concern demonstrated by documented collaboration with at least one community organization, description of how or why the specific project was selected, and how the project will benefit the targeted audience. Demonstration of ability to administer the program definitely helps. You want to have realistic implementation strategies, reporting of data and evaluation assessment, well-written narrative. You want to have appropriate budget, as well as support material regarding effectiveness. Lastly, it must engage diverse populations such as children, youth, seniors, and people with special needs. What are the support materials that you may need? Any applicant with a 501c3 will need a proof of commitment from a secured project location. So any location that you're using will need some type of letter or evidence. Proof of commitment from professionals to be hired. So anybody that's working with the project, you want to show us any evidence of an agreement for them to provide a service for you for that specific project. Resumes of key project participants, 3 pieces of work samples, including photos, demonstrating your ability to successfully complete the project. And of course, the 501c3's most recent annual budget. And if you're an applicant that's partnering with a nonprofit, you need an MOU in addition to memorandum of understanding. Now, let's go talk about a little bit about the process. Organizations and individuals may submit one ArtStart 2025 grant application requesting no more than $5,000 for projects that occur between August 1st, 2025 and June 30, 2026. Staff will review applications for completedness, but a peer review panel will review proposal based on evaluation criteria. Their considerations will be provided to Newark Arts Board of Directors, who makes the final funding and award decisions. All right. So that's the process that it goes through with us. So let's let you know, the staff at Newark Arts don't make the decisions. We definitely have a peer review panel that review the proposals based on certain evaluation criteria. We want to make sure that your project is realistic and it meets certain criteria. What are the reviewers looking for? They want to see projects that show collaboration with community-based organizations in local neighborhoods, projects that stimulate creativity and community engagement, projects that are led by small budget organizations and individual artists, projects that address civic and social needs and empower residents, projects that engage diverse populations such as children, youth, seniors, and people with special needs. And last but not least, projects that occur in neighborhoods beyond downtown Newark. We love downtown Newark, but we're excited when people are able to activate other spaces outside the downtown area as well. Now, what can you use the funds for? Applications may include various artistic disciplines, including, but not limited to, visual, literary, performing, film, and public arts. Now, if you feel like your project may not fall between this, feel free to reach out to us, because it doesn't mean that we don't cover 100% of everything. It can definitely still be taken into consideration. Note that organizations and individuals without a nonprofit 501c3 status must apply with a tax-exempt nonprofit organization serving as their fiscal agent. And I mentioned this before, an MOU is required as evidence of your relationship. So if you are an individual that came on and said, I have this great project, maybe you want to start thinking about what nonprofit in your area that you may want to partner with, so you be or use as a fiscal agent, so you can be able to properly give yourself the best chance. Your grants may also be used for artist fees, coordinators, technical crew, and other professional fees. You can use it to cover space rental, props, transportation costs, and other material fees that are integral to the project or related to making it accessible to people with disabilities. For example, maybe you need a sign language interpreter or maybe audio captioning. Operating expenses such as printing, photocopying, supplies and materials, you can also use funds for those. Promotional expenses related to the project. I mentioned this earlier. If you have something or maybe an expense that may not be listed, just notify us to discuss, and I'll let you guys know a little bit later on the best ways to contact us. Now, what is not funded? Programs in service of individuals outside of Newark. Note that online programs will be considered as long as it targets the Newark population. Treatment programs such as substance or alcohol abuse. Creative art programs, however, poetry, music, visual arts that serve that population are allowed, just to make that clarity. Scholarships, athletic teams or events, fundraisers and gala events, advocacy or research groups, capital or building construction projects, endowment campaigns, support of permanent staff doing their normal or usual job. Those are just a few of the items that we know for certain you cannot use the funds for. Now, if you have any questions, I know I've been running my mouth. This is a good time. I know there is somewhere in the thing where you guys can type questions. I'm going to pass this on over to Cindy, where she'll be able to definitely take care of this section. Cindy.
Thank you, Mayowa. So I'm going to share my screen and show you what the application looks like in Submittable.
I think we have a raised hand. You want to take the questions after that, or?
Yes, we could take a moment right after and take care of all the questions. So, like I mentioned, the platform that we use for the form submission is Submittable. That is newarkarts.submittable.com, or you can also find it through the ArtStart landing that you have been seeing in the presentation. This is what it looks like when you come onto our Submittable platform. Now, if you have applied in the past, you will already have an account. Just use your regular login, and you'll be able to see this application on when it opens, which is Mayowa March 3rd.
Yes.
And then if you don't have a Submittable account and you haven't applied with us in the past, make sure to register with an email that you check often, because all the communication for everything ArtStart will go through that email you choose, and we want to make sure that we are able to reach you. As you can see, here's a few of the guidelines. All of that repeats. If you want to see the presentation again, this is where you find it. Now we will start with your ArtStart project name. It doesn't have to be the final name, but just something that allows us to identify it. In this case, we're just going to create one that says Cindy's art project. Just a holder for now. Who is this organization for? Now here you pick the one that makes sense according to how you're applying. You may be an organization with a 501c3, an individual artist, or an organization without a 501c3. I'm going to say individual artist. And according to what you pick, you will have to fill in some contact information on the portion underneath. Your name, your phone, your email, your mailing address, your website, and your fiscal agent information, which is required if you are an individual artist. Now we're going to the next portion. Have you or your organization ever been awarded an ArtStart grant? Here, you can say yes. And if you do say yes, please choose all the ones that apply and tell us the title of the ArtStart project. Or you can say no if this is your first time with us. Additional details that we need. Who is this project serving? Choose all that apply. Let's say East and South. Artistic discipline. What are the artistic disciplines that your project is involving? May that be dance and theater. You can also choose all that apply. And you can choose other and fill in if there's anything specific that is not featured. Here you can say the amount requested. Remember, it could not be greater than $5,000. In here, you can put your summary statement. In no more than 75 words, please provide a summary of your project that may be used for publication. This portion is limited to 75 words, that is full words, my project. And as you see on the right over here, it will start counting for you. So if you exceed the word limit, you will get an error message and be prevented from submitting until word count is adjusted. So please be very aware of that. Over here, since we are an individual artist, please upload your memorandum of understanding or your MOU. If you are an individual artist or organization without a 501c3 status, you must partner with a tax-exempt organization who will serve as a fiscal agent, and an MOU is required as evidence of this relationship. As you keep going through the questions, they all have underneath a instruction to help you guide you through the process. Over here, you upload your 501c3 letter of determination or that of your fiscal agent. Now, this portion is the authorization. Here, there's an authorization blurb. Now, what you need to do is copy this blurb in a separate Word document or PDF and have that signed by the Chief Administrative Officer of the organization that is applying or the fiscal agent acting on behalf of the organization or individual artist applying. Then you go over here and you upload that document. The next portion is the narrative section. Now, this is your opportunity to tell the review panel and Newark Arts about your organization or yourself. There's a few things that we would like to hear. Everything must be limited to 500 words or less. So in that, we start with a description. What is the project? What are the goals and objectives? How does it align with your mission? Please tell us everything. And remember, the word limit, it's on the right. Management, please provide the name and key qualifications of partners, coordinators, artists, and everyone that will be involved in your project. Need, why was the project selected? How will your artists and other partners contribute to the success of this project? Again, everything has a 500 word limit on this portion. Target population, specify the number of individuals you expect to serve directly. Tell us everything that we need, demographics and other key characteristics. Here's where you can also tell us if it serves a specific population, like the one with disabilities that are in compliance with the American with Disabilities Act or ADA, or if any other underserved population. Evaluation, how will you measure and document your success? Tell us everything that you want the panelists to know. Outreach, how will you advertise and promote the project? Timeline, what is the monthly schedule from grant approval through the conclusion of the project? Budget, now this portion is what is the total cost of the project and how will you spend the grant funds? Limit this one to 500 words, but do put everything that pertains to that project. Now, right underneath it, we have the project budget table. Now, in this one, this portion, you fill in the table underneath it over here. Now, to give you an example of how this works, this is a budget that both demonstrates the expenses and indicates the source of funds of the grant and other income dedicated to covering the costs of implementing your project. For instance, project personnel, let's say I will use 500 of the ArtStart allocated funds to cover my personnel and 100 from other source of income. The column A involves everything that ArtStart will be covering or funding, and column B comes from any other source of income, donation, or funds raised. And column C will tally the total for you. Now, you see a few line items over here: personnel, artistic fees, coordinator, operating expenses, printing, postage. Now, only fill in what pertains to your project. On the bottom, please indicate the source of funds listed in column B. They may be from organizational budgets, grants, donations, anticipated admissions, sales of advanced tickets, or other types of funds. And here, for instance, I did personal funds, advanced ticket sales, if it's a theater production. Let's say I'm expecting $1,000 from that. Please use a list format for us to see it clearly. Now, on the bottom portion, please indicate any kind of in-kind donations you anticipate to receive for your project. Let's say laptops will be donated by Cindy, speakers donated by Zoom, and you can continue listing any line items that pertain to you. Now we reach the section of support materials. In here is where you gather all the documents that are being requested of you. That may be the proof of commitment from professionals that you plan to hire. That could be artists, teaching artists, a videographer if you're doing a theater production, an audio engineer, a lighting person, anything that pertains to your project. A proof of commitment from the location where your project will take place. If I'm doing a theater production, what stage am I utilizing? You will need a proof of commitment. Resumes of project coordinators, artists, and other professionals involved with the project. Again, we want to see that the people involved in the project will be able to successfully complete it. And here, another sample support material attesting to your ability to successfully complete the project. Now, this could be your personal resume, projects, photos that you've done a similar project in the past, or anything that will allow the team reviewing to see. And over here, your organization annual budget, if it applies to you, if you're in an organization. You choose all those files and put them over here. You may add up to 20 files or more. Now, at the very end, click on the terms of use, read through it, hit agree, and at the bottom, you can either save the draft if you need to come back at a later date and continue filling in the blanks, or you can hit submit. Over here, as you save the draft, it will show that it was recently saved, and all your data will be kept for you to return at a later date and complete it. Now that is all on the form. We can open the floor for more questions.
So we have 5 questions, but it's in the Q&A, Cindy.
Okay, here I see. So let's hear it. Maria Daniel says, if you're not a treatment program, but you use dance and art to explore mental health and disabilities, would this qualify? Regina, do you want to answer that one?
I think it really depends. You can, we may have to explore that. I don't think it says that you have to be a bona fide treatment program per se. If you're an artist and you're doing a program, I guess you would maybe partner with an organization. Probably, would behoove us to talk to you directly, maybe. Do we have an official template for an MOU? I don't know that we've had that in the past. I think, Maya, you're on mute.
Yes, we do have a template that we have for an MOU in-house, but mainly for organizations working with Newark Arts, but not because but not necessarily, but
Yeah, I think typically the fiscal organization
they would have their own, right?
Yeah, and they would you would come to agreement with them in terms of accepting the pass-through funding on your behalf, and then whatever they may stipulate as their own requirements of their organization. But then in turn, you would be submitting some of their financials, etc., along with your budget, I do believe. Is that correct, Cindy?
Correct.
You guys want to board? Okay, so next question. Is it okay if I'm just starting out, moving ideas from paper space to reality? Are there better incubator opportunities that would help someone bridge that gap? Hashtag Team Newark.
Love it.
Maiwa, any thoughts?
Is it okay if you're just moving out from space to reality? Again, this is it sounds like a little the question is a little bigger than the ArtStart is focused on a singular project or project that happened multiple times. If you are asking just like how would you take a project that you're doing at Peerspace and then trying to make it a reality, yes, then I said it would um, be eligible for it. But if it's just more like general advice, I wouldn't say. So I wanted to get, I guess, more clarity on that.
Yeah. I would say the ArtStart application is specific for projects that serve communities. So if your project is aligning with that and you might need a little bit more guidance on how to make your project come to fruition, I think the ArtStart submission process might help you with that. Even if you're not selected, going through all the requirements or everything that asks for you will tell you what you need to gather.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say yes, lean more towards a yes.
Yeah. Next question.
Or,
If you're partnering
Maria
with a school,
Daniels. Okay.
yeah, Maria Daniel, if you're partnering with a school, a 501c3 would not apply. So what documents must be uploaded?
You said if you're partnering with a school, a 501c3 would not apply. So what documents must you upload? So if you are,
Uh,
yeah, go ahead, Regina.
I'm just wondering if it would depend on whether you are a teacher associated with that school or whether you are an outside like teaching artist who periodically works with the school. It's hard to say, across the board. And again, I know your first question, Maria, is something that may need more unpacking. So perhaps just, write us. We have an info line, correct, for ArtStart?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
And
yeah.
then,
We'll give that out at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And if I could just also add to that, I mean, one of the documents that would have to see evidence of, the agreement in the partnership just to start off at least. If you're just utilizing the school or if you're actually working with them, there has to be some documents in writing that shows the evidence of, okay, the school is partnering with your organization to do this specific project.
Okay, thank you, Maria. Look forward to hearing more from you. Um, Anonymous attendee, should the grant not fully fund the program?
it doesn't, it doesn't have to. It could be a portion of your funding that you're stacking together to cover the full cost of the program.
Right, right. Because there's some people that have programs that they are actually putting multiple grants together to make that program happen.
Okay, thank you. Next question. I do architecture, urban design, but not the first time constructing installations. Okay, I'm not sure what the
What's the
question.
question? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can type your question right up.
ArtStart is for art programs like programming for teaching seniors um, painting or working with youth, working with people with disabilities, leveraging the arts. So yeah, we would need to know more of what you're asking.
Okay, next question from Ayana Swan. Will there be a check in from Newark once the program starts? How will we submit accounting receipts after the event has passed?
That's a good question. So we do accept reports from the events. So the reports once you go through the website or once you're in the program, we do give information as to when reports are due. And the reports, could be in form of the flyer, the pictures from the events, and they are highly very important. Especially for those that's looking to get the funding again. But just in general, we need pictures and reports from every event that takes place under the ArtStart. It's part of what helps us continue to be able to make the program happen.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anonymous attendees, that sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maria Daniels says she is a teaching artist.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Essentially partnering with the school.
What was that in reference to?
To doing a program in a public school in Newark.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, you as a teaching artist, you and the school would come to some agreement about the program that you want to offer and work all of that out, and then apply. Okay.
So another question, and Shankababic. If you are working with a school or camp, will they have staff to assist?
Well, who have staff? Are you asking?
A school or a camp. That again, that's for the individual artist who's going to be the applicant or the presenter of the program to work out with the school or the camp.
Right.
And then that's what you would put in your application.
So next question from Anonymous. If you are an artist and have a great program idea, but are not aligned with a specific organization, but your target audience is senior citizens, is there any way to be matched with an organization?
We currently don't have any program that matches you with any organizations. That would be, part of you making your project happen. To look into nonprofits that can provide that fiscal sponsor or relationship to your program.
Right. But you might look up those community organizations that have senior programming, like it could be a community development corporation like New Community or La Casa or even Lincoln Park Coast Cultural District, and just have conversations initially to see if they would want to host your program.
Cool. That's great. That's a great addition.
And I think the next question pertains to that as well. What exactly is the role of the fiscal sponsor? Is it essentially a middle entity in exchanging the funds?
Pretty much, yeah. They have the tax status, the nonprofit tax status, which is the requirement, and then they would pass the funds would pass through them.
Yeah. In order for you to get grants, most grants it requires you to be a nonprofit. So if you're not a nonprofit, you definitely need to partner up with a nonprofit that can accept funds on your behalf.
Now, one more last question. Are artists and or organizations required to provide insurance for the program?
I believe they are, and this is maybe new for people who have been part of the cohort before, but we can kind of clarify that. And are we doing an FAQ sheet that will
Right after.
We're gonna go through the FAQ, but I don't believe that is addressed in the FAQ.
Okay,
but we will give you guys a way to also, again, follow up with further questions. Any questions that we may not be able to answer as of this moment, I'll drop an email that you guys will be able to reach out to later on at the end of this presentation, and we'll be able to get you any of those answers.
Okay.
All right, thank you, QIA. Let's take it back, Maiwa, for the next portion.
All right. So we're almost done. The rest of this presentation is just for us to go through some Q&As, and some of them we probably have already addressed it. Bill, before we go into that, I just want to, when Cindy was going through the application, she went through some budget information. Just to know that all applicants are required to complete a project budget form, which contains an untitled column of listed expenses. Um, column A equals to the expenses covered by the requested grant funds, and column B equals to the additional necessary project expenses that will not be covered by the ArtStart grants. That's just to answer somebody that was asking earlier if the funds doesn't cover the whole, program. So sometimes you do have programs where you have multiple columns. If you have funding from other sources or maybe funding from out of pocket that's making up the rest of it, that will go into the column B. Column C represents the total of columns A and B. Please be sure to take your time and check all the figures and make sure they add up correctly and correspond to the figures that you provided. It is not necessary to have a figure on each line on the budget form. Complete only what is applicable to your project. Requested grant funds may be allocated to one or more categories. Now we're going to go through a number of FAQs. What is the success rate for the ArtStart applicant? As funds are limited, grants are very competitive. Historically, approximately 1 in every 3 proposals have been funded. Please be aware that fund projects may not be fully funded. Can Newark Arts staff help me with my applications? Questions, we would be more than happy to answer questions. Questions can be submitted through newarkarts.org/artstart/application. However, Newark Arts does not review full proposals or provide edits to text or budgets. We don't provide those services. That's on you to come up with that. I'm not from Newark. Can I still apply for an ArtStart grant? Organizations and artists not from Newark seeking funding support for programs specifically in service of Newark residents are more than welcome to apply. As long as your program happens within the city of Newark and benefit the communities that we serve here, you are eligible for an ArtStart grant. What if only part of my program happens in Newark? Newark Arts only support projects that happens in Newark. If part of your project occurs outside the city, you must clearly demonstrate that the grant funds you are requesting are being applied only to the portion happening in the city of Newark. We strongly recommend that proposed projects happen in Newark in their entirety and benefit only Newark and its communities. If I plan to partner with other organizations, should I list them in my proposal? Yes, local partnerships are integral to the success of any community-based projects. You must mention your partners, indicate whether they are confirmed or proposed, and tell us how they will be involved. A letter of support from the executive director is also required. I believe this also answers one of the questions about partnering with schools. This is one of the things that will be required. I have a great idea for a project, but nowhere to hold it. What should I do? Applicants must secure space to run their program prior to submitting their proposal. Our panel will be looking at how realistic your program is to implement based on the details you provide and your program's history or experience. Projects proposed without a definite space are deemed somewhat less realistic. So you got to do the work. What is the ADA and how does it affect my program? The Americans with Disabilities Act is a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all places that are open to the general public. The purpose of the law is to ensure that people with disabilities have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else. This means that your venue should be accessible to people who have mobility impairments, and you should seek to accommodate people who have hearing or visually impaired or have other disabilities by asking them to let you know in advance of special needs. It is advisable to have an organization ADA plan that describes the accommodations that are currently available and notes that are being planned, notes those that are being planned for. How should I notify Newark Arts Council if my email or mailing address changes or after I submit my ArtStart grants? You can contact us at 973-643-1625, or that's my email, mayowa.okubanjo. I'm going to give you a much simpler one to remember, which just says grants@newarkarts.org. It still comes to me as well to let us know. Be sure to identify yourself as an ArtStart grantee and provide your contact information, the name of your organization, old address information, and any updated contact information in the email. Are ArtStart grants transferable? Grant funds are not transferable. Funds may be spent only on those activities specified in the grant application or approved in a project or budget revision. Applicants must submit a written request to Newark Arts prior to implementing any project or budget revisions. If the project cannot for any reason be implemented as described, the grant check must be returned to Newark Arts. What happens if my part of my proposal falls through after I've been awarded an ArtStart grantee? Major changes to your project, such as population served, staffing, funding, timeline, locations, partners, must be approved prior to proceeding. You must submit a written request for approval explaining the proposed changes before moving forward with your project. If the alteration to your project changes the initial scope, benefit, impact of your awarded proposal, you may not receive the funding. Oh. If I'm awarded a grant, what are the requirements and payment information? You may not spend grant dollars until you have received an official award letter and signed a grant agreement. Following the project's completion, you must submit a final report form, which will be provided describing the project, the impact of the grant funds, the number and demographics of the participants and audience, photos, and a completed final budget form. Failure to submit a complete final report in a timely manner will affect future funding. Will you send us a grantee kit? Resources, a lot of resources are available at newarkarts.org to help you promote your partnership with us. Recipients of ArtStart grants are provided with all necessary documentation, ArtStart posters, logos, as well as instructions for how to properly credit Newark Arts Council as a funder after the awards is given. Organizations receiving support are encouraged to promote receipt of the award through press and social media. If I'm a first-time applicant, how do I make sure I'm successful? Well, the first step is that you're here today. Newark Arts staff strongly recommend that you have someone review for your application to check for typos and anything you may have missed. Did you include all the required attachments? Did you answer each question to the best of your ability? Select a friend to check over your application before you submit it. That's what we recommend. Well, I want to say thank you on behalf of Newark Arts for everybody that is here with us. Like I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions regarding the application guidelines on the form, you can email us at grants@newarkarts.org, grants@newarkarts.org. Again, my name is Maiwa Okubanjo. Regina, you have anything else that Cindy you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, we appreciate all of the creativity that goes into these proposals and programs. They really help uplift the city and provide valuable service to community. Thank you.
Well, again, thank you guys for attending. And this info session will be available on our website as well for for those that may want to go back and review it. Maybe you join us a little bit later. So again, on behalf of Newark Arts, thank you. And remember, the application opens March 3rd at noon, and you have until April 13th to apply. So let's let the planning get started. All right. Thank you guys and have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Good night. Thank you.